photo of him with Andy Warhol? See that? And then I found this incredible photo of him and David Niven, I hope in character. And I was feeling really happy about everything until I found this one. He's everywhere! But I think, I think my problem with religion is not so much the people who believe or the people who don't believe. I think my problem is the people who suddenly believe. You know, like at Christmas. Christmas is the one that sets everyone goes nuts at Christmas, don't they? Everyone's saying, oh, well, we've got to go to midnight mass. Go, why? You didn't go the other 364 days of the year. Why do you suddenly feel compelled to go now? Oh, we've got to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. Really? When did that happen? December the 25th. Celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. Definitely happened December 25th. Nothing to do with the equinox? No, definitely. September the 25th. December the 25th. That's what we're definitely doing. We're definitely doing it because we're going to celebrate the birth. And usually to those people I say, okay, so he was born there, right? When did he die? April-ish. Sure, isn't it? Christmas is absolutely set in stone. Easter is a movable feast. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And no one, as far as I'm aware, was mental enough about Christmas, apart from my grandmother, right? My grandmother, right, was the maddest woman ever when it came to Christmas, right? She was definitely, couldn't give a shit about anybody until, oh, well, we've got to celebrate, you know, she was one of those, right? And she was an East End landlady, right? She ran several pubs in the East End land. Anyone old enough to remember Peggy Mount?
Yes.
A few of you actually remember Peggy Mount. For those of you not, do you remember Pat Butcher from EastEnders?
Yep.
Yeah? Imagine her, but without the earrings and none of the charm. She was a tough dame. She was a real matron. You did not mess with Gran, right? Okay? Because if Gran said something was happening, it was going to bloody happen, right? Okay? And the thing is that she eventually worked in the West End of London and ran the Theatre Royal pub, where she appropriated a chandelier. And obviously gained a vocabulary. And the thing was that in 1976, her and Grandad retired out to a little village called Ickham near Canterbury, right? And they moved out in the middle of December. They bought, do you know Ickham?
Yeah.
Yeah. They bought basically two little tiny cottages next to each other, right? Pretty much the same floor space here. The idea being is what they do is they knock the wall in between down so they could have a larger little floor space, larger living space, and a bedroom each. Because they hated each other. Because you know, that's what you did in those days. You made your choice, you were stuck with it, boy. And so they also announced to everybody that even though they've moved in the middle of December, right, we're all going to theirs for Christmas dinner, right? We're all going to you're nuts, Granny. It's not going to be. You're all coming here for Christmas dinner because we're going to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. And in her own words, we're going to do it proper. However, she said we're going to do it proper, but we're not having turkey. Right? We're not having turkey, no one likes turkey, there's a reason why you only have it once a year, it gets dry too quick, it tastes like shit, we're going to have fish. Fine, because no one's going to argue with Gran. Fine, absolutely fine, right? So, December the 24th rolls round, right, and all that's happened, there's a massive hole in the wall, and Gran has knocked down the stairs going up to her bedroom. Right? She's going up and down a ladder. Just a ladder, just hanging there, 68 years old, this seems perfectly rational to her. Oh, she'd had a hip operation previously as well. Didn't feel right, but still do matter. So, Christmas Eve, she wakes up 4 o'clock in the morning. She realises something's not right. Right? Okay. Obviously, the living room needs painting, and the chandelier's there on the floor. Right? But she realises what the problem is that you can't celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. In her own words, you can't celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ and do it proper if you haven't got a turkey. You've got to have a turkey, haven't you? Nothing to do with the fact it's got to do with the Americans from 100 years before, but still. So instead of waking up her husband and getting him to drive, no, she puts on her coat and walks the 8 miles into Canterbury through the snow to try and find a turkey. Now, it's 1976, there's not 4,000 Tesco Metros on every corner, right? She walks a further 8 miles around Canterbury, desperately trying to find a turkey. Eventually, she finds the last remaining turkey that couldn't sell because it was too bloody big, right? And eventually she buys it and it weighs, no word of a lie, 38 pounds. This thing is enormous. It is so big she can't even carry it, right? So the butcher cuts it in half. And with 19 pounds on each arm, she walks the 8 miles back. This is not rational, is it, right? She gets home, Grandad goes, where the fuck have you been? She goes, I bought a turkey. I thought we were having fish. We're having turkey. Okay, because no one's going to argue with her. knows it won't fit into one oven, right? But luckily she's still got 2 kitchens. So she puts one half in one oven, one half in the other oven, does the maths that only Stephen Hawking and grandmothers can do, and realises this thing's got to start cooking at about 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So then finally, after walking 30 odd miles and lifting this thing all the way back, doing all this ridiculous thing, she does exactly what you would expect a 68-year-old woman with hip problems to do. Yeah, she paints the living room. So she puts one half in, she sets it off, right? Comes back, realises I'm going to start basting this thing at 6 o'clock, right? Because it's going to need basting, isn't it? Because otherwise it's going to go dry, because, you know, I don't want to dry turkey. She gets up 6 o'clock in the morning, comes down her ladder, right? Has a look, sort of goes, no, something's still not right. You know, there's a smell of fresh paint in the air, right? So she starts basting one, you know, closes the door, goes back, basting the other side, and then she realises what it is. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. Because if you're going to celebrate and do it proper, it's got to look right. So she gets both halves of the turkey and sews it back together. I'm not making this shit up, guys. But it's too big now, so she can't fit it in the one oven, right? So what she does, right, 'cause she can't, she tries to squeeze it in. So what she does, she gets the 24 different types of vegetables she needs, right, to prepare for that day, gets herself a chair to sit down, gets herself a stool, puts that against the oven door, then puts her foot against the oven door, resting on the stool, and starts peeling potatoes. Grandad wakes up about 8:30, 9 o'clock, comes downstairs and goes, what the fuck are you doing? She explains, he says, okay, because no one's going to argue with Gran, right? And then what he does, he doesn't help, because what he does, he constructs like a Heath Robertson contraption of tables, chairs, a television set, and a lawnmower, right, to wedge against the opposite wall to keep the oven door shut. Because finally, after no sleep and all this thing, she does exactly what you would expect a woman have to deal with at that moment in time. Yep, she hangs the chandelier. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon rolls round, right, we've had the Queen's speech. There's this amazing table, 24 different types of vegetable. There's a smell of fresh paint in the air. There's this huge, ridiculous chandelier that's too big for the bloody Albert Hall, just hanging down there like this. And underneath it is this huge, ridiculous turkey with 2 great big, different coloured fuck-off bootlaces going up and down And Gran declares Christmas open. Do you know what I mean? Because it's proper now, it's proper, right? And everyone tucks in and silence reigns across. Because that's what Christmas is all about, really. Let's face facts. 16 hours of hard work for 10 minutes of silence. And everyone's tucking in, and then Uncle Bert ate a bit of turkey, right? And I'd never heard Uncle Bert speak before. And he just said, oh, turkey's really dry, girl. Uncle Bert died 3 days later. I don't know whether it was Gran or the Lord, but someone was moving in mysterious ways. So, you okay? I'm sure you can come again. So listen, I obviously, you know, I said I don't believe in heaven, I don't believe in hell, but I found myself recently believing in purgatory. I went to purgatory because I got a gig on a cruise ship. Has anyone been on a cruise ship before?
Yes.
A few of you have. There you go. You'll probably you okay? Did you have fun? No, okay, cool. All right, you're probably on a nice one, right? Now, the thing is that I don't know what everyone else views of cruise ship, because I thought this would be great, right? I thought this is going to be a great thing. The wife, she's all set on her path. I'm going off to do comedy, and I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I've done some really crap gigs, I've done things, and I thought this would be okay. This would be a paid gig, right? I'm getting paid. I've got 12 nights on board a cruise ship. I'm going from London to Amsterdam to La Rochelle, right? Down to Bilbao in Spain, Lisbon, Gibraltar, La Coruña in the north of Spain, and then back up to London. 12 nights, right? Now, when you were on the cruise ship, did you have shows in the evening? Was there shows on? See, sometimes with cruises, the way it works is very simple. There's 2,000 people on board, right? There's a 1,000-seater venue, right? And the deal is that at 7 o'clock, you either watch a show or you have dinner, right? So if you're an act, you just do the same show at 7 o'clock at 9 o'clock, and then the next day, on another day, you do another show 7 o'clock at 9 o'clock. So I'm booked to do my 10 films with my dad's show, right, okay, which I've done for 8 years, very popular, done it all around the world, by the way, 8 o'clock in the other room. And I think this is going to be fine, right? They've seen my clips, they know the kind of person I'm going to be, I think this is going to be fine, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you turn up for a gig, right, as a comedian, you know whether it's going to be good or not. You do, instantly. You walk into a room, you just know. I walked in today, and sometimes you go, oh, these guys are going to be good, they're going to be lively, it's going to be fun, it's going to be excellent, right, okay? Sometimes you walk into a gig and go, oh. And you just feel it, it's going to be bad, right? And the thing is I walked on this ship and I knew it was going to be bad, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, I've turned up for gigs early before and realised it was going to be bad, but I've never turned up for a gig 6 days before the gig and lived with the audience. Now I got on board. Now I don't know what your view of cruise ships were. I had this kind of view that it was something like an Agatha Christie novel. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was going, oh, shuffleboard at 2, of course, Lord Peterson. I'd be delighted. Do you know what I mean? As soon as I solved this murder, I don't know, this would be lovely, right? No. The one I was on was a Weatherspoons on Sea. Now the thing is I don't know what your politics are, and I don't care. Let's face facts, it causes too many arguments these days, but I've already told you I'm from Brighton and I vote Green, so you've probably got a fair idea where I'm coming from, right? And the thing is I get on board and instantly I see 2 people, right? I don't want to be judgmental, but they were both wearing wolf fleeces. And they were arguing, but they weren't arguing, they were actually violently agreeing with each other. You know when you've seen people go, oh, it is a bloody, oh, I tell you, I'm so angry, well, I'm bloody upset too, oh, and you know they're going to look at you and catch your eye and go, don't you think, don't you agree? And you're supposed to go, oh, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know how to deal with that. And I've signed a contract, I'm not allowed to upset anyone, I'm not allowed to swear, I'm not allowed to do anything wrong. And the thing that was driving me nuts, right, okay, is that they were arguing, stroke agreeing violently about the fact that the exchange rate had collapsed, and this wasn't what they expected when they voted for Brexit. It took all of my strength not to go up to them and go, because of you! Always splits the room. Whichever way you vote, you guys, don't worry, I'm sure it's all going to be fine. So I think, well, maybe I'm misjudging. I get to my room, I've got a lovely cabin, lovely double bed cabin. I've got it, I've got ensuite and everything. I've got a window, I've got a view. It's of a lifeboat, but I've got a view. And I think, well, I'll go along to the 7 o'clock show. There's a 7 o'clock, there's a welcome show, right? And I think I'm misjudging this. It's going to be fine, right? I turn up and it's full-on Butlins on Sea. Oh, it's show tunes and everything, and I'm starting to get a little bit nervous, right? And then the cruise director comes out, right? Now he comes out, and I can't emphasize enough how much everything is true in this story, guys, right? Because he just comes out and just goes, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Tony. Lovely to see so many familiar friends. Oh, hello, Maureen, you all right? Listen, new people too, the important thing you've got to remember is that when you're on board with us, it's not just a cruise ship, it's a friendship. Oh. No, guys, they love that. And then he topped it off by going, my name's Tony, in case you forget, very easy to remember, Tony. But guys, that was gold. 1,000 people were 999 people were roaring with laughter. One guy was just going, oh fuck. So I go to, and I'm leaving the theatre, you've got to go past all these bars. So I'm thinking, no, maybe I am misjudging it, maybe I'm being wrong. I bump into people, because I'm chatting to people trying to, you do, kind of, the Fringe you do as well, don't you? I talk to some couples and they go, oh, what are you doing here? And I'm very self-effaced, I don't like to do that. Well, allegedly, I'm a comedian. And they go, oh, we love comedy, we. Barbara, oh, did we... Jim Davidson, are you anything like him? No. Oh, if you are, we'll come and see you. Definitely come and see. Please don't. Please. So I go the thing, right? And I go, we okay? Need that chair. Oh, I'm sorry.
Did it come from the pop room?
It did. I thought we could get away with it. Sorry, my mistake. No, it's okay. Don't worry. I've been a bad boy. Hang on, I'll just put you on hold.
This will be seamless.
You are in a queue for the vicar's husband. Okay,
And we're back.
Now we're back. Hey! So, I go and think, so I spend a very, very sleepless night, right? I'm terrified. 7 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, go to the buffet restaurant. I think I'll just go and eat a load of bacon. This will help things out, right? And I get there, and there I meet Jean. And Jean saved my life on this journey, right? Jean was amazing. She was like a very young, vibrant 70-year-old. You know, you wouldn't have been able to guess her age, right? She was fantastic. And she introduced herself in the most amazing way possible, right? She just came out to you and went, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I thought, "I was the youngest." I thought, oh, I like you, you're good, right? And I said, "Well, I'm the comedian." She goes, "Oh, that's a shame, you seem fun, but I don't like comedy, it's not my cup of tea. I won't come and see you. I hope you won't mind." I was like, "No, Jean, not at all. If anything else, we will now be the best of friends." Because there's no level of expectation. I thank you guys for coming, but I'm sure somebody thought, well, we'll give it a chance. Do you know what it's like? You don't know, do you? There's that level of expectation. But when that's removed, that's fine. You can get on like a house on fire with people, right? She was amazing. She was a doctor in the army for 25 years. And for one point, she lived in Gibraltar. So that's why she was going back, just to see where she used to live, right? And she was great. So we'd meet every morning at 7 o'clock for breakfast, right? And then I'd go and hide. Now, it comes to Friday night, the first gig, right? And I've been pre-warned, there's another act on board. He's a comedy magician, right? Okay? Little evidence of either. And I know the karma gods are going to pay, right? And so he pre-warns me. He says at 7 o'clock, he goes, the 7 o'clock show's a little bit tough, right? It can be a little bit tough because they haven't had enough to drink, they're worried about their dinner, and the bingo's still on, right? And also he said, but the 9 o'clock show is a delight. It's a delight, right? So I do the 7 o'clock show, I do 10, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's a tough gig. Right? It's a hard gig. There's lots of like sort of polite smiles, right? Okay, but there's one smiley happy lady, and there's always one smiley happy person in the gig, and they're getting the gig. Do you know what I mean? And everyone else is just like, it was hard work, right? I didn't die as such. I mean, it wasn't my worst gig. At that point, my worst gig was actually in the room here 2 years ago. I was doing a show called The Joys of Retail. And I came out, and there was a entire front row was a women's institute from Surrey. And I came out, and the woman third from left, is that where you are? I just came out and went, "Hello," right? And she just went, "Oh God." From hello, right? And so I'm sitting there, like they just like, it was like a Daily Mail wall of hate. They just detested me, right? And I'm trying my best to sort of reach them, but no, everyone else is behind enemy lines, right? There was the one smiley, happy person. I think, okay, well, you're being smiley and happy, but everyone else is awful, right? I get to the end of the show. A woman sat nearly where you are. She was on the far right, which, bear in mind, she probably was. She sat there, right, and she just must have thought it was a women's institute thing, because she stuck her hand up and just said, "Will you be taking any questions?" And I was so browbeaten, I went, "Okay." And she said, "So tell us, what do you do for a living now?" So, "Well, I'm trying to do this." And they all just went, "Oh," and then they all left. Right? It's okay, it gets worse. So I'm saying goodbye to everyone, because I like to say goodbye to people if people have come and seen me. I love that, that's fantastic. And I was sort of thinking, eventually the smiley lady comes up to me, right? Now I just had this tattoo done here, it's 2 roses, because my daughter's called Rosie, right? And this woman comes up to me and she just goes, "I enjoyed the show very much, but I have a personal question, I hope you don't mind." I was like, "By all means, it couldn't get any worse." And she goes, "Tell us please, why do you have 2 cabbages on your arm?" You can't not see it now, can you? Now that was a bad gig, right? This one is about to get a lot worse. So, I'm going to do the 9 o'clock show. I'm ready for the 9 o'clock show. I think that's going to be fine. I buried the 7 o'clock show. I think this is going to be fine. I know the show, it's going to be okay, right? I'm about to go out. Tony arrives, goes, "Door is on. I'll give you a proper introduction this time." Right? And I'm thinking, this is what he says. He comes out and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've got comedy for you now. Now, I know usually when we have a comedian on board, it's usually joke, 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 joke. But we're not going to do that tonight. Instead, what we've got more of a storytelling kind of comedian for you, more of an intellectual type of comedy. Might not be your cup of tea, right? He does like the Fringe and all those arty things, right? I've seen him on YouTube. He seems to know what he's doing. And oh, by the way, it's his first ever gig on a cruise ship. Ladies and gentlemen, Aidan Goatley. Yeah, that reaction was actually better than what I came out to. So I come out and I'm thinking I've done enough. I know that I'm going to do this show. I know it's a good show. I start to explain the show. I get 3 minutes in where I explain I'm from Brighton, and 100 people get up and walk out. It's as though the very mention of the city is going to turn them gay. I'm furious because I can't do my usual response, right? Because usually I would just, you go to clubs, I do clubs all over the place, and I get homophobia just because I'm from Brighton, and it fucking annoys the shit out of me, right? Because I don't understand why. Okay, Brighton is the gay capital of the UK, but it's also the capital of vegetarianism in the UK, and I've yet to do a gig anywhere in the country, turn up saying I'm from Brighton, and have 2 homophobic pricks in the back go, oh, watch out for your broccoli, lads. But I can't do that. I can't deal with that response. I can't do the clubs. I'm under contract. I'm not even allowed to I'm not even allowed to swear, right? So I'm kind of editing. I'm panicking. I'm in a situation I've never been in before. I don't know what the fuck to do, right? I'm editing the show as I go along. There's a bit in the show where I talk about Die Hard being a gay love story. No fucking way. So I'm editing the show as I go along and I'm panicking like you wouldn't fucking believe. There's a bit in 10 films where I talk to someone in the audience and it looks like it's off the cuff. It's not. I know what they're going to do and I know what they're, I get the response. It never fails me. It's a lovely, smiley, happy person. I race across the stage. There's a smiley, happy, thank God there's a smiley, happy person. I ask them the question. Unfortunately, I haven't concentrated and I realise when I ask the question, this person is not going to answer because this lovely human being has special needs. This is confirmed when the lady next to her looks up to me and just says, oh, she won't answer your love, she's got special needs, but she's having a lovely time. Now normally, right, I would just go, oh, and I'd have a chat, and I go, well, welcome, I hope you have a great time, and I just want to make everyone feel welcome. I don't want to put anyone down for it, you know what I mean? I just want to feel. But unfortunately, at that exact moment, the spotlight finally catches up with me, and therefore the remaining audience can see me seemingly pick on a disabled woman. It's okay. It gets worse. So I carry on, I get 35 minutes and I have to quit. I have to say, with a great deal of irony, thank you for your tolerance. And I leave the stage. Tony has a go at me for only doing 35 minutes. I go, well, what the fuck do you expect? You introduced me as an intellectual comedian in front of a Butlins crowd. I storm off, but I couldn't storm off, of course, because I have to go past the bar. I have to go past 2,000 people who fucking hate me. I get outside instantly, there's a small group of people. I think, Christ, they've already set up a lynch mob. But these turned out to be lovely people. They were people who go to the Fringe, and they came up to me and they said, well, we go to the Fringe, we would have seen you there, we would have, we would have seen it, would have worked there. This isn't the venue for you. We're so sorry that you had that reaction, right? And that's fine, that's okay, that's so lovely of them, right? They were being really nice, yeah? And the thing was, the second group of people I ran into were pointers. Right? They'd be talking to their friends in the bar and then they go, oh, look at it. Now, imagine going past a bar, it's like a wave of people all of a sudden going, oh. At one point I was in Lisbon trying to get some fresh air and escape, right? I'm in the town square, I think, oh, this is lovely, look at the architecture. I look across the square, there's 50 of the fuckers. Oh. The third group of people all turned me into Moses. Right? They were like the Red Sea, they just parted. They just moved out of the way, they just, oh, let's not look in his eye. It was awful. I ran into Jean the next day, right? Okay, she goes, oh, how did the gig go? I didn't come because I don't like comedy, it's not my cup of tea. I said, Jean, it was awful. It was really, really bad, right? And she said, oh, I'm glad I didn't come. I know, Jean. I'm glad he didn't come either, right? And so all I did was I just started sort of basically eating a huge breakfast and hiding in my cabin. Because I'm not being paranoid, I was getting abuse from people, right? People actively hated me, it's like I'd ruined their whole holiday. So I'm sat in the cabin and all I've got in there is CNN and the Gideon Bible. Right? And if you watch CNN for longer than 3 minutes, you're convinced the world's going to end anyway, aren't you, right? And I'm sitting there, it was last October when Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump were having a go at each other, and I was just thinking, oh fuck, what if there is the apocalypse? What if the bombs drop and I'm stuck on this fucking boat with these cunts? So I just keep seeing Jean. Eventually, right, I go and see Tony. I feel all the courage, go and see Tony. Tony sits me down and goes, look, Aidan, first things first, you should know it's not your fault. And I'm like, thank you, Tony. He goes, you should never have been booked. You should never have been booked. I've seen your website, I've seen your stuff online, you seem to know what you're doing, but you're not the right person for this venue. And I was like, well, thank you, Tony, I appreciate that as much at least. He said, having said that though, he goes, we don't think it's a good idea for you to do the second show. And I'm like, okay, am I still going to get paid? Right? Because, I'm not here for the culture. So I'll do the show. People have said they'll come, a small group of people. I'll do it in my cabin. I'll do it in the laundrette. I don't care. I need to get paid. Right? And he said, well, we have to check, you see, because there's been a bit of a problem. There's been a complaint. I was like, oh. Right, because I've had people walk out, I've had people swear, but I've never had a proper complaint before. Right? And I was really excited, and I thought, oh, I've got to find out what this is, right? I said, well, what did they complain about, right? And apparently in 10 films, there's a bit where I talk about my daughter watching Raiders of the Lost Ark too young, my wife saying she shouldn't be watching this, right? And my response is, well, they're only punching Nazis, you're never too young to learn how to punch a Nazi, right? Because you're not! And they complained about that. I said, well, yeah, they did because there were some Germans on board. I said, the Germans complained? No, people complained for the Germans. This is fucking insane. I've done this show in Berlin. She said, well, we'll have to let you know. So I storm off. The next morning I bump into Jean. She goes, are you going to do the second show? I said, I don't know, Jean, I don't know. She said, well, if you do, I won't come. I hope you won't mind, because I don't like comedy. I said, I know, Jean, I know, it's okay. So word gets to me, right, that bear in mind that this ship, right, is going to dock at 7 o'clock on the Saturday morning, right, and at 7:01 there's going to be an Aidan-shaped hole in the side. They told me that the night before, on the Friday night at 11:30, right, they're going to allow me to do it in the Raffles bar, right? I didn't even know there was a Raffles bar, right? I go to find it, it's half the size of this room, it also contains a piano and a bar. It's so far down in the ship, I get down there, I open up the door, there's no one there behind a guy behind the bar going, oh, they sent help. But I don't care, I'm going to get paid, right? So I get there, right, and it's crammed, there's 80 people crammed in there, right? Now I'm well aware that 40 of those people there may have been there just to be lovely and smiley, happy people who just wanted to be nice to the poor chap who had a bad time, and that's great, right? I'm also aware that the other 40 people may have been there just to watch another car crash. At this point, I am beyond caring. I just want to do the gig. So I do the gig, and it goes well, right? I did my Joys of Retail show, and it worked. They laughed, they enjoyed themselves. I felt like king for the day, right? I get my money, I get in the lift. I work out that if I go in the lift, I go across the top sun deck, go back down the rear sun deck so I can get to my cabin without seeing anyone. And I come down, I get to the second to last sun deck. Bear in mind, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and there's Jean. She's just standing there looking out at the beyond, I said, a bit concerned. So I said, you okay, Jean? And she said, yeah. She goes, oh, I'm just thinking about the journey that I've been on, right? And it sounded like one of those, when someone puts on Facebook, I've had a really bad day, but they haven't given you any details, so you have to go, oh, what's the matter? But this was real life, so I couldn't just go block. Do you know what I mean? So I said, well, what's happening? And she explained the reason why she was on the journey, right, was that she was a doctor in the army for 25 years, but so was her husband, right? And he passed away that year. And the thing is that she just wanted to go back to Gibraltar so she could close, and in her words, close the chapter on that part of her story, so she could start a new chapter. And when she told me that, it kind of put everything into significance. Do you know what I mean? There's this woman dealing with this incredible loss, right? And she's just closing the chapter. She was at that point where she could do it. And then, and I just thought, well, that's amazing. And I just thought about the Bible, and I just thought, well, you get your Bible stories. It doesn't matter where you get your stories from or how you use them. It's how important, isn't it? It's whether you get from the Bible or whether you hear them down the pub or some sweaty man in Edinburgh. It doesn't matter. And I said, well, thank you for letting me be part of your story, Jean. And then she said a really lovely thing. She just said, how did the gig go? I was like, well, it went really well, Jean. And she goes, oh, that's really good. I said, I didn't come because I don't like comedy. And then she said the loveliest thing. And she just said, well, at least you got a nice end for your story now, don't you? And I was just like, oh, thank you, Jean. And I gave her a big hug, and we had a number anyway. And I said, look, I'll speak to you soon. Get some sleep, you know. And I get 4 feet away, and I swear to God, she just turns to me and just goes, Aidan, I forgot to mention, I did go and see some comedy last year. I paid to go and see some comedy, and I really enjoyed it. I said, really? Who'd you go and see? I saw Ramesh Ranganathan. Sadly, incredibly true. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute delight to do this show. It's my last show of the Fringe, so it's been really good. Thank you so much for being so lovely. My wife and I do help each other out. She actually asks me to help her with a sermon sometimes. I don't know why. And she actually has helped me with part of this show. So if you were paying attention, you would have seen that, or paid attention, you would have realised there were several Green Day lyrics in it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Aidan Goatley, it's been the Vicar's husband. You guys have been an absolute delight. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, if you haven't seen 10 Films with My Dad, it's on at 8 o'clock. It's the last time I'm doing it in Edinburgh.
You said that last year.
I know. I also said it the year before.
And the year before that.
Fuck you.
Oh, another fuck you, it wasn't just me then.
Hey, fuck you all. No, it is the last time I'm doing it because it just hasn't sold this year. No, it really is because I'm doing next year. Listen, I'll tell you about this because you won't come tonight, so it's fine. If you follow me on Twitter and stuff, I've got a new show that I'm doing next year called Happy Britain. In January, I'm going to every single county in the UK. I'm going to the Google Centre of every single county to basically find out if people are happy. No, it's going to work, it's going to be fine. And it's going to be here next year, it's going to be in the big rooms, the 120 seaters, so I really need your help. And so if you follow me on Twitter, you'll find out all about it. It's going to be a book as well. So thank you very much, good night.